I was an influencer. It was the job I always dreamed of, but I had no idea how difficult it would be. Being an influencer is way more work than people realize, especially since the persona I created for myself was almost completely fake. I acted like I was fabulously wealthy, but in reality, I was a 25-year-old who still lived with my parents. And my parents, for the record, didn't have a lot of money themselves. At first, I faked my videos completely, pretending I was on island vacations when I was really filming in my backyard. Over time, I started getting brand sponsorships, so my videos became a little more legit. I had actual products that I could try on camera. Still, it was a full-time job, and there were days when I wished that I had just gone to college like my parents wanted. Last summer, I was in a pretty dark place. My follower count was flatlining, and another influencer that I collabed with ended up getting arrested. Long story, but he's a creep, and the scandal reflected badly on me just by association. I was really starting to think about quitting the internet completely and getting some random waitress job or something. At the very least, I needed to slow down a little. So, one day, I did a live stream announcing that I was going to be taking a wellness day at home. I usually did at least 3 videos a day, but I told my followers that they wouldn't be hearing from me until the next morning. Then, I switched off my phone and I locked it in my parents' upstairs safe just so I didn't have the temptation. Then, I washed off my makeup, got into my pajamas, and tried to enjoy the day without thinking about my online brand. Now, for the next hour, everything was wonderful. I watched TV, relaxed on the couch, and ignored all my worries. I realized that this was the only way to continue my influencer career. I couldn't be camera-ready 24/7 anymore. I needed vacation days like these to recharge my battery. I was watching TV on the couch when I heard footsteps behind me. At first, I thought that my parents had gotten back from their vacation. "Hey, I thought you weren't supposed to get back until the weekend." When they didn't answer, I got scared. Somehow, I knew that the person behind me was a stranger. Before I could turn around, I felt someone's hand clamp down on my shoulder. "Don't scream." I jumped off the couch and spun around. The man was young and weirdly handsome, with a long scar across his forehead and a rope in his big hands. Whoa, what do you want?" "Your money." I tried to explain that I didn't have any money, but he didn't believe me. He'd watched all my videos. He'd seen the expensive clothes I had pretended to buy and the luxury vacations I faked in the backyard. He believed all the lies that I'd been telling my followers, and no matter what I said, I couldn't convince him that it was all fake. He pretended to listen, but when it was clear that I wasn't going to tell him what he wanted to hear, he grabbed my wrists and tied them together with a zip tie. He moved so fast that I didn't have the chance to push him away. "Show me where you're hiding everything. Start with all your jewelry." Okay, I'll do what you want." I pretended to go along with his demands. He let me stand up and lead him to my bedroom. I decided to show him my jewelry drawer. I had a ton of fake stuff in there, and if he thought that all my necklaces and rings were real on my videos, well, then he might think they're real now. I opened the drawer, but up close he instantly knew that everything I owned was fake. "Where's the real stuff, like in your videos?" I knew that I couldn't trick him, so I tried to make a run for it. With my hands tied, I couldn't fight back, and with my phone locked in my parents' safe, I couldn't call the police. So I raced across the house before he could grab me. I made it to the front door with plenty of time to escape, but I couldn't open it. The door was deadbolted, and I needed both hands to open the lock. With the zip tie limiting my movements, I was trapped. I saw my neighbor through the front window. He was walking his dog just 20 feet away. I screamed. He didn't hear me. I kicked the door. He didn't hear that either. And then he was gone. The robber stood behind me now. He gently placed his hand on my shoulder. He didn't have to be violent with me. He knew that I was trapped. I'll untie you and leave as soon as you cooperate. Seriously, I don't have anything. Look around you. Does this look like the house of a rich influencer? I think he finally believed me. His expression went from patience to disappointment. And then he got angry. He punched me in the stomach, hard enough for me to double over. Liar! I couldn't argue with him. I was a liar. My entire career was built on lies. But that didn't mean that I deserved this kind of treatment. I tried to think of anything that I could give him. Anything valuable. Then I remembered my parents' set of silverware. They inherited it from my grandma. It had to be worth something. I asked him to follow me into the kitchen. He did. I nodded towards the cabinet where he kept the silverware. He opened it and he started rifling around. Now that he was facing the other direction, I looked around for something that I could use to attack him. There were knives on the counter, but he'd hear me if I grabbed one, and I didn't want to stab him. I just needed something heavy to knock him out. The toaster was too big. The mixer was still plugged in. He started to turn around. I was losing my chance. Without thinking, I grabbed some appliance that was attached to the wall and I slammed it against his head. One hit and he toppled to the ground. He was woozy, but still conscious. I didn't know what to do next. If only I hadn't locked away my phone. And then I looked down at my hands and I realized what I was holding. The house phone. I'd literally never used it before. I completely forgot that it existed. Did it even work anymore? Yeah, it did. I dialed 911 before the man could get to his feet. He ran off before the police arrived. When they got here, they untied my hands and they checked if I had any injuries. I still don't know who that man was, and I'm honestly not worried about it. He won't come back. There are other richer people that he can rob. Once the police left, I decided to give up on being an influencer. It was way too much trouble than it was worth. I made a video confessing to all the lies and telling everyone about the attempted robbery. I thought that would be my final video, until it went viral. I'm still an influencer, but now I'm more popular than ever. And I'm totally honest with my followers.